Steelers wide receiver George Pickens makes it clear that he wants out of Pittsburgh. So, the last couple of weeks for George Pickens has been rough. He's only had a few catches, and in total 3 over the last 2 weeks. If you look at last week against Jacksonville Jaguars, you look at the game and he had 1 catch, which should have went for like 5 yards, but he turned it into like 20 and a touchdown. And then this week, when everyone was saying in the media, when Mike Tomlin was speaking to the media, Matt Canada, Kenny Pickett, they said that they need to get George Pickens more involved. He ended up having 2 catches for -1 yards. So he says on social media, he put out this post. It says, when you've been toughing it out for so long, so you generally start tweaking. And then if you see on the bottom right corner, it says, free me. Also, it wasn't just this post that he did. He cleared his whole Instagram page of everything Steelers. He had pictures of him with Steelers uniform on and stuff of that. If you look at his profile picture, he switched it to him in college. And then you look at how many posts he has on his page. He went from having all those Steelers stuff on his page to only having 1 post. So he deleted everything with him in a Steelers uniform. So obviously he's going through a tough time on the field, and it's taken a toll on him, and now he just wants out of Pittsburgh. He hasn't officially requested a trade, but obviously putting in free me, what does that obviously mean? That means free me from the situation, from the Steelers not throwing me the ball, from Kenny Pickett, from Matt Canada, from the Steelers offense. He wants to be freed from the team, and it looks like it's going down a very bad path, a bad ending in Pittsburgh. But he's only in his 2nd year, meaning he still has 2 more years left on his contract. So unless the Steelers are just willing to trade him, he's still going to be with the team, and he's still going to have to deal with it for another 2 years. And if you want to go watch my other video that I made basically like 3 days ago, I basically covered this topic saying the Steelers do need to throw George Pickens the ball more. And in that video, I covered Matt Canada, Mike Tomlin, and Kenny Pickett. And they were all talking to the media in their press conferences this week leading up to the Thursday game. And all they had to say whenever talking about George Pickens was, we need to move him around, we need to get him open, we need to scheme him up to get some catches. And I said, that's all talk. They're not going to do it. And what do you know? They did not do any of that. Kenny Pickett did not target George Pickens. Yes, he should have had that 1 touchdown where his foot went out of bounds, but still, that's just 1 extra catch. He still had 2 catches for -1 yards. If he had that, what would he have had? 3 for like 15 yards? It's not as if he would have had that much anyway. He's not being targeted, and in Matt Canada, he's not scheming him up like he said he would, and Mike Tomlin said we need to get George Pickens the ball. That never happened. So all of them basically lied in the media, and George Pickens is sick of it. Right away, during that Tennessee Titans game, you could tell that George Pickens was upset. He was upset when he didn't get his foot in bounds. He kind of was really mad. And then, even when Deontay Johnson got his touchdown, the first in like 669 days, I believe that was, if you look at the sideline, you look at the picture of him on the bench, when Deontay Johnson and Calvin Austin are kind of happy and celebrating, George Pickens is there, kind of slumped over, with his hands in his pockets and him looking mad. So you could obviously tell he was upset during the game that he was not getting the ball and that he was not getting catches and he was not helping the team. And that's what he wants to do most. Just help the team, and he wants to get some yardage, he wants to get some touchdowns, he wants to be involved in the game. What's the point of going out there running 60 plus routes for you to get the ball twice? It just doesn't make sense, and him being one of the best players on the team to continuously make plays whenever the Steelers need it, for him not to be targeted, that's just not a good thing for the offense, and that's part of the reason why the offense is struggling. If you can't find a way how to get your best player on offense the ball, then what are you even doing? So, Mark Caboli had this to say about George Pickens after the game, after Tennessee Titans. By far the first person that left the field yesterday, in the locker room and out the door. He didn't want nothing to do with talking to anybody. He was not happy. I was told by people on the sidelines after the touchdown, he didn't really interact with anybody. He sat on the bench, head in his hands, sulking. Matt Canada a couple of times trying to console him on the bench, but it didn't go well. So obviously Mark Aboli, who's an insider for the Steelers, was told this by many sources, and obviously he saw it as well, just like we all saw it. George Pickens was not happy, nor should he be. So just because I believe and I agree that George Pickens should be targeted more and should be involved in the game more, doesn't mean that I agree with the way he's handling it. He could be handling it way better, going straight to Kenny Pickett, going straight to Matt Canada, and going inside the Steelers locker room and talking to the players, talking to the coaches like Mike Tomlin, and saying that he needs to be more involved in the game behind closed doors and not let it get to the public. Handle it behind closed doors, and hopefully it resonates with Kenny Pickett and Matt Canada and he starts getting the ball more. But when he throws these tantrums on the sideline where he looks obviously mad, these big stories happen. When he does this on social media, people are stalking your social media. You have to know that. So you know this is going to happen. So he's ready for that backlash. He's ready for it to be covered, and he knows that all this is going to happen, and he wants it to be covered. It's not like he's doing this knowing maybe it's not going to get any attention. No, you're on the Pittsburgh Steelers. It is going to get attention, and people are going to find it right away and run with it. And now the narrative is going to be on George Pickens wants out of Pittsburgh. Before the last two games, George Pickens was on a good pace. He leads the team in receptions with 30, for 521 yards and 3 touchdowns. But if the last two games, if he even did anything, he should be over 700 yards and probably over 4 touchdowns. But no, he's stuck with 521. And I said this before, but through 9 weeks, only having 30 catches, that is really bad. That's basically 3 catches per game. What are you doing? How is he only getting 3 catches per game? That just does not make sense for someone of George Pickens' skill, who you know is a reliable target. It just doesn't make sense how he's only getting 3 catches per game in this offense when your offense is struggling. You would think that he would have more because you need to come back and win the game. But no, he's only having 3 catches per game. And if he doesn't get those long touchdowns of what I believe was 60 something yards, if he doesn't get those long touchdowns, his yardage would be in the 300 range. So it's not like he's getting a lot of yardage on his targets outside of him making it happen. He has to beat his man deep in order for him to get those yardage. He has to run after the play in order to get that yardage. He's not being thrown the ball deep. He has to make things happen. And that's not a good sign for the Steelers offense moving forward. And I could understand why he's mad, but I just don't like the way he's handling it. And I'm sure you guys don't either. Antonio Brown, he brought a new perspective to this thing. He posted on social media that the Pittsburgh Steelers have a thing going on where they're pitting people against each other. He said that he was pit against Emmanuel Sanders, and then he said that James Harrison was pit against Joey Porter Sr. I believe it was Joey Porter Sr. And then he also said that Deontay Johnson, he's being pit against George Pickens, and also Vince Williams, that he was pit against Ryan Shazier. So he's saying that the Steelers have a history at making guys go head to head and it not turning out well, and those guys competing against each other more than competing for each other. So that's what he had to say about this situation, and many people are comparing it to Antonio Brown kind of leashing out, kind of talking out of his way and forcing his way out of Pittsburgh, and many people were scared that he's going to turn into the next Antonio Brown. I don't believe that's going to be the case. I believe the Steelers are going to be able to get it under control, and I don't believe he'll get traded anytime soon. I believe he's going to be a Pittsburgh Steeler for a while, and he should be. So hopefully the Steelers are able to get this situation under control. But one last update before I end this video, I just want to let you know that Cole Holcomb, I know you guys probably already know this, but he's out for a season with a knee injury. If you didn't see the replay, you probably shouldn't because it wasn't good. But Keanu O'Neal, his leg went straight into Cole Holcomb's knee, and it kind of looked like a Nick Chubb situation if you remember the hit that Mink Fitzpatrick had on Nick Chubb, but it wasn't the helmet that hit him. It was his leg that hit him, went into his knee went the wrong way, and now he's out for a season. So hopefully he's able to make a full recovery. He's reportedly supposed to, But that's just the update that I have for you today in today's video with George Pickens and Cole Holcomb. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel down below as well if you like serious content, analysis, reports. Like the video, turn on post notifications down below for the channel as well, and let me know your thoughts on this video down in the comments below in both these situations, George Pickens and Cole Holcomb. How do they affect the team moving forward? Turn on notifications, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys all later. Till next time, I'm out. Peace.